So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was bullying. For those who know our work at the Jukido Academy and my work as a teacher, we're obviously very into the traditional martial arts and the culture of traditional martial arts, but always embedded in reality, how the art applies physically anyway in the real world. So we kind of go with the motto of train for reality and live with purpose. And in the spirit of train for reality and living with purpose, and particularly dealing with children, although it's applicable beyond children, bullying is obviously a big topic. And, you know, the bottom line is a lot of kids are afraid to defend themselves because they're good kids. And they're afraid. They'll tell me things like, Sensei, I want to defend myself, but I'll get in trouble in school if I defend myself. This manifests with adults in a different way too. Sometimes adults will ask questions in training that you'd require a law degree to be able to answer because they're so concerned with the legal ramifications of self-defense. And to be clear, you should have some sense of the laws regarding self-defense, particularly as they apply to where you live. If you're a good, moral, upstanding citizen or a kid in school, you don't want to get in trouble. Totally get it. But this can be overdone. And I think that the most important thing that we need to give our children is the permission to defend themselves, to ingrain in them the idea that it is not only permissible for them to defend themselves, but that they have an obligation to defend themselves. I tell my own daughters that the litmus test basically is, if daddy was there, would he allow that person to do what they want to do to you right now? If the answer to that question is no, if I was physically there, I would not allow this kid, for example, to put you in a headlock and drag you to the ground, or slam you into a wall, or pull you away somewhere, or push you and then slap you across the face. If I was there and I would take some kind of action to protect you, to ensure your physical safety, then you have permission to do it as well, because I can't be there for you all the time. There's a reason it's called self-defense, right? Because we're not all a president with Secret Service or an executive with a personal protection team. We are our own bodyguard. And so as parents, we have to give not only ourselves, if we're adults, but as parents, we have to give children the permission to defend themselves. It needs to be abundantly clear to them that they are so special, that they are worth protecting, and that if you were there or I was there, we wouldn't let somebody do that to them. If a teacher was there, they wouldn't allow someone to just beat you up. But if those resources are not there, then the same response, just like it would be my responsibility to make sure that you don't get hurt, or a teacher's responsibility to intervene. If those options are not there, then you have permission to defend yourself. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the responsibility to defend yourself. And we need to ingrain that in the children. And is it possible that they get in trouble with some of these incredibly ridiculous, well-meaning and well-sounding zero tolerance policies, where if you defend yourself, your punishment is basically equal to that of the bully? Well, then it is what it is. But I'd rather get a call from the school saying, hey, your kid got shoved and they took some kid down and got on top of them and controlled them. And, our policy is zero tolerance, so everybody gets suspended. Well, then so be it. I'll get you an ice cream, or we'll spend the day at Disney during your suspension, but you're not in trouble at home. Of course, that is not an advocation of needless altercation. That is not saying that if you have the ability to de-escalate or walk away, that you don't take that option. But if you are physically under attack, if someone is genuinely threatening your physical autonomy, not only do you have permission, Not only do you have the right, but you have the responsibility to defend yourself. And if we ingrain that in our children, not only do I think that there will be less bullying, because of course bullies are looking for victims. They're looking for prey. They're not looking for a fight. There will be less soft targets out there. And of course, kids will be more prone to stand up for themselves and stand their ground if they know that they have the physical know-how to do it. Otherwise, it's all kind of a house of cards. So we need to prepare them physically to be able to handle themselves. Kind of the hard power or hard skills of self-defense need to be there so that they're empowered to use the soft skills. Even in statecraft, right? Soft power and diplomacy doesn't work. There's not a strong military to back it up most of the times. They need to know that as we're negotiating and being diplomatic, that if worse comes to worse, there is hard power. And we don't want it to come to that, but we have that ability. And so anyway, I just, the number of conversations that I have regarding bullying, and it just breaks my heart to see so many kids who are afraid of getting in trouble with the adults in their life, that we really need to, again, hammer home. Do not get into needless fights. Avoid confrontations. Be cool. Use your verbal jiu-jitsu. Use your soft skills, your communication skills. Stay calm and centered. Don't get into fights if you can at all avoid fights. But by the same token, the yin to the yang, right? If you are under physical assault, you have permission from us as your parents, as your sensei, as your the adults, the teachers. You have permission to protect yourself. You are too special and too important to not be protected. You deserve to be protected. And whether that protection comes from me, a school administrator, your parent, or yourself, you have the right to be protected, to be safe, and you're not going to get in trouble here. You have permission to take care of yourself. You have the responsibility to take care of yourself. Drive that message home to your kids.